using this, like it works. You're doing it time and time again. And I love what you said. It moves from the physical things into the subtle, into the emotional, into the deeper. I think that's so profound. What was that one more that if you didn't do it, you wouldn't be here today? What was one of those ones that like that was the one that convinced me, apart from obviously your father, that you were like, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be Ed Mylett today. I wouldn't be Max Out Life.
The first business I built was a financial business, and I had some success, Jay, like a lot of people do in life. And then it went backwards. And sometimes when you get up the flagpole just a little bit and you come back down, that's an emotional difficulty. It could be a relationship that was good that's gone, or maybe it saved some money, it's gone. Maybe you lost a bunch of weight and got fit and you gained it back. For me, it was my business. And I called my dad. He was a pretty wise guy now that he was sober. And, because I could tell you, man, I'd do one more rep in the gym. I haven't done 10 reps on a bench press in 30 years. I've done 10 plus one more a lot though. I haven't done 45 minutes on a treadmill, but I've done 45 plus one more minute. 10 contacts a day? Never. 10 plus one more. But the biggest one more was actually something else. I called my dad and I said, hey, Dad, it's not going. The business is crashing. And I'm running out of money. Our power was turned off. Our water was turned off, Jay. I had to take my wife every morning. We'd lost our house. We're living in an apartment now. Then the water got turned off. You can't cook. You can't bathe. There was a apartment building. We had an outdoor shower at the swimming pool. And we were newlyweds. And I'd have to get up every morning, walk down there, and I'd hold a towel up while my wife took her shower every day outdoors and brushed her teeth. And then she'd switch and hold the towel up for me. And I'd walk back up to the apartment, and I was so emasculated, so ashamed, so embarrassed. And I was living a nightmare, selling a dream to everybody every day. We can do this. A lot of entrepreneurs or people can relate in their life. And anyway, I called my dad that night and I said, I think I need to pack it in. I need to go get a job and this success thing is not for people like us. And my dad goes, Eddie, you don't have to decide you're never going to quit. He goes, just don't quit for one more day. See how you feel tomorrow. I go, Dad, he goes, just don't do it for one more day. And I got up the next day and I still wanted to quit, but not quite as much. And then I went one more day. And I found myself about 30 days later, I didn't want to quit anymore. And thank God the one more I did was I went one more day without quitting. And I'm so grateful I didn't quit on my dream.
Oh, Ed, wow, that is like, oh my gosh, man. Like, everything you're just dropping right now, I'm just like, I hope everyone is taking notes. If you haven't been taking notes, I want you to take a screenshot right now of where we're at right now, because that's what you're going to have to listen to again. So take a screenshot, share it, tell everyone to go to this segment, listen to that over again, because I think what I'm hearing, is that this is a lifestyle. Like, this is a mindset. It's a lifestyle. It's an everyday, every moment way to live. This isn't just in the big business you're building. This is me telling my wife I love her one more time. This is me making sure I message my mom one more time. It's me making sure that when I'm sitting here with you, I'm always going to have to ask you one more question because you keep giving so much. No, but you keep giving so, well, that's what you just said. It will never end. Mm-hmm. I think that people feel like they tried a lot and then they start building up resentment and like pain and bitterness towards that path. And a lot of people also that I know, they just think that there are some people who are meant to be.
I agree with this.
And then there are some people that are not meant to be.
That's correct.
And they carry that with them. And it comes from this like, oh yeah, you were meant to be this, or that person was meant to have it. But for me, this is where, and I heard that kind of come up in what you were saying to your dad, like, it doesn't happen to people like us. How does this rule, how does this principle apply to someone who's in that
Brother,
space?
Best question ever. Because I grew up with you have an alcoholic dad or a drug addict, or maybe you come from divorce, or maybe your parents just didn't love you enough, whatever it was, didn't tell you they loved you enough. It's hard to have self-confidence. Yeah. I was a little guy. I got bullied in school, and and even at this age now, bro, if I'm being completely honest, self-confidence, we all teach that it's, part of keeping the promises you make to yourself. But what if you raise the standard a little higher? You keep the promises you make to yourself, plus one more. Because for me, self-confidence didn't come easy. I think in life, ultimately you're going to get what you believe you deserve. And if you're wired like me, I didn't think I deserved a lot. I didn't even have a dad who could stop drinking, right? I wasn't 6'4". I don't have an incredibly high IQ. there's nothing really that impressive about me, nor were people very impressed with me most of my life. So that was my pattern. That was my history. That was my memory. And so I could wait around until I developed tremendous self-confidence, or I could begin to do things every day that were small. They're not major. And over time, when I did those one more calls, that one more meeting, that one more book I read, that one more podcast, not only am I doing more reps, so the likelihood of me being successful is bigger, but I started to convince myself I'm doing things other people aren't willing to do. Maybe I deserve things other people aren't going to get. And slowly but surely, I started to convince myself I did deserve it based on what I was doing, not necessarily the caliber of my talent.
Yeah.
And that was the difference.
Yeah, there's a thought I've been having recently, and it's that comfort creates self-care, but discomfort creates self-respect.
Ooh, boy, I love
right?
that.
Like, it's what you're saying.
I love
that. The one more discomfort every day,
yes.
That's where self-respect comes from.
Yes.
You don't...
Great term.
You don't start to trust yourself or build self-esteem or believe in yourself because you just say it to yourself. It's coming, what you just said. You go out there and take one more meeting and see what you learn. Yes. You go out there and take one more risk, one more discomfort.
And I guarantee you, if you have a successful or happy friend, how you determine that, and you ask them this, they'd tell you that we're right.
Yeah.
They would tell you, gosh, that's right.
Yeah.
It's right. And the difference between winning and losing, happiness and sadness, is so small, it's almost scary to talk about. But the good news is I think I kind of know what it is, and it's this one more.
Absolutely. The people that I know that are the most successful and happy have more uncomfortable conversations.
Agreed.
They have more uncomfortable days. They have more discomfort in their lives.
Yes, totally agree with that.
But selected discomfort. But one of the other things that I'm asking from now, I'm like going into like the people that I know that I'm thinking about, I can see their faces, and I want them to know that I'm asking for them. A lot of the time, one more in the wrong direction.
That's right.
Can also be really misguiding. Sometimes people, and I know you're a person of faith too, and so we can touch on this. Sometimes we're climbing the mountain and we keep doing one more, but we're actually going further away from who we are, who we want to be, our faith, our partners, right? We know people who've built multi-billion-dollar companies but lost their kids.
That's right.
Or they've become famous and rich, but their partner cheated on them, or like really painful stuff. And people who didn't do all of that, and that's happened too. Sure. Like it's both ways. How does one use one more and make sure it's in the right direction?
Such a great question. I'm doing this now regularly because I've made some of those mistakes and what I do is I check in with myself one more time, meaning it's important to ask yourself, what matters to me now? See, if we had this conversation 20 years ago, the things that mattered to me then are so different than what matter to me now. But a lot of us keep operating out of what used to. Maybe you've achieved or are pursuing a dream, and it's really, truly no longer your dream. It's no longer your dream. It's when I was young, listen, if we were going to do a podcast, you say, hey, I need you on the show. People are going to love you. You're going to get recognition. You're going to get all this acknowledgement. And that would have been my hot button, my need. I believe in the 6 human needs. My need was significance and recognition. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's wonderful. And so that's the button to get me to move would be significance, recognition. Well, I've been blessed the last 30 years or so of my life to have a beautiful abundance of significance and recognition. It's no longer what fills me. Now you get me to do an interview, go, hey, I really think we could help some people. My big button in my life now is contribution. There was another stage in my life. It's still there, but hey, if you go there, you'll grow. I still want to grow, but I know me now. Right now, I'm in a season of my life that's contribution. It's giving. It's what fills my heart. And I think it's checking in with yourself one more time. What matters to me now? What do I want now? What's important to me now? What season? Maybe you're in a season where you need to rest. Maybe your spirit and everything about you is telling you, hey, it's time to feed you again. It's time to recharge. If that's the season, then answer that call. Don't play out of a past playbook. And so for me, that's the season I'm in now. And I'm sure that in 5 or 8 more years, there'll be something else. But I regularly, on a monthly basis, you recommend it in your book so beautifully about your relationship, checking in. You have these strategies you teach about weekly and monthly and quarterly and yearly with your partner of checking in with them. I also recommend you check in with yourself and what matters to you now. And so for me, it's a matter of checking in now so that I don't lose my family in the pursuit of my business or lose me.
Yeah.
Lose me. Who am I anymore? And I've had times where I'm like, this doesn't feel like me anymore.
Yeah.
And I had at least the ability to at least acknowledge that and make a change.
Yeah. And I love that you brought up seasons, because I feel like no one on planet Earth, we don't have the power to change the season.
Yeah.
But you have the power to live the season well.
That's right.
You can either be right now it's been raining, right?
Yeah.
Wherever we are. It's been like pouring down with rain. There's all this effort. You could carry an umbrella. Well, you can tell how I'm dressed.
Right.
I'm definitely not dressed in my usual gear.
Right.
Because I'm dressed for the rain. I'm prepared.
Yes.
Because that's all I can do. I can't make the rain switch off. I can't stop it, right? Like I can't do that.
Yeah.
And so I love hearing that you're just learning how to thrive in the season. And so if your season's telling you to rest, you can't force the season. And you have to live it through. You have to experience it.
I think you have to remember one thing, man. I think it's just easy as a person to forget this. And I just would love to say this because you have such an amazing reach. Each of you and I included, we were born to do something great with our life. We were born to do something great with our life. And it's important to check in from time to time of what that current great thing is. And sometimes we think it's the big things. It's the people that are on both our shows. They've made this big movie. They've got this big song. They're this big thing. Who's greater? The man who helped my dad get sober? Or the fact that maybe I've helped some people because my dad got sober? That one act was greatness in his life. That kind moment with another person that says, I can help you. Let me connect with you. And so don't discount your own greatness, your own call to do something great. And it doesn't have to be a script or a play or a book or a speech or on social media. It's just doing something great, and you matter. I don't mean this hokey. I'm telling you the truth about you. You matter. You were born to do something awesome with your life. Your family's supposed to do something great as a family. And maybe it's just checking in and reminding yourself of that, and then asking yourself, what is that thing right now in my life? And so I just think that reminder is so important that, it's great to voyeuristically look in on successful people or what we think are successful people. It's also important that the camera turn back on you and go, you matter. You matter. You are great. And that's probably the most important thing we'd say today.
Oh, gosh, man. Yeah. And one thing you just clarified beautifully is that great doesn't have to be big.
No.
And big doesn't mean great, right? And I think we're so obsessed today.
We are.
In that to do something great, it has to be big. It has to be bold. When I think about myself, honestly, Ed, and I can say this to you because I think in these sessions and when we spend time together, you've heard my heart. I was one of those people who actually never believed I could do any of this stuff I've done. I never set out when I started and I was like, oh, one day I'm going to be, I didn't have any of that. That's not how I'm wired. I was wired in like, I want to serve. Yeah. I'm going to serve whoever comes, whether it's 5 people, 10 people, I'm happy. Yep. I'll serve them. And as I started to do that, I got more confidence. Like, okay, now I want to serve larger groups. Okay, let me serve them. And then it was like, and I never believed at any point that there were these arbitrary, abstract goals of like, number one this, and like those weren't how I set out. And so when I'm listening to you speak, I hope someone's out there thinking, Jay and Ed, I'm like you guys, where it's like, I don't vibe with all that like motivation, I just vibe with the fact that I want to have a great impact, like the person that helped your father. Yeah,
and you know what we've both found in our life too, just to give you insight from someone called me seasoned today. This is that the universe or God really prepares you to step into the next room when you step in with some faith. And so maybe it does start with 5 or 6 people, and maybe that's enough, but perhaps in that space you're in, there'll be a little door open. And if you step into that one, you'll find, we think I have to have it all figured out. Yeah. Wozniak's a good buddy of mine who started Apple. They didn't. They were a board company. They didn't know they'd be doing this someday. They stepped into the next space. And one thing I think we also want is an immediate result. And I talk about this in the book. Maybe this would be last little thing I'll share with you, but I went to a birthday party as I was writing the book, and it was for a young boy, and they had a piñata. We've all been to especially living in California, the piñata. And so what they did is they took each of these little guys, they blindfolded them and spun them around, and they're all dizzy and they're swinging, and they're not even near the piñata. That's life. A lot of times you feel like, man, I'm blind. I don't even know where I'm swinging right now, but I'm swinging. And so each kid hit the piñata, and the candy didn't come out. And so they take the blindfold off. That kid got tired. The next little boy came up, spun him around. So like 7 of them hit this piñata. No candy came out. The last boy, the smallest boy, the youngest boy there, they throw the blindfold on him. They spin him around. He's swinging too. That's life. You just sort of swinging, right? They finally point him at the piñata. He hits the piñata just once. Bam. All the candy comes out. And all the kids jump on and celebrate. And I'm watching that and I'm going, now who broke the piñata? Was it the last shot? Or was it the cumulative blows of each of the shots on the piñata? Well, we all know the answer. It was the cumulative shots. Life's a lot like that, man. That we're taking shots, but we don't see any physical progress. But every one more we're doing is compound pounding progress. And in life, you have to be willing to buy into what is invisible progress. Most people quit on their dream, quit on their vision before the candy comes out. And what you and I didn't do is quit. We just kept swinging. And eventually the candy comes out. The candy could be your bliss, your joy, your financial success, your notoriety, your contribution. But most people are hitting the piñata of their life and there's no evidence it's working. But the truth is there's a compound pounding effect in life that if you keep hitting your life's piñata, if you'll stick around, there'll be some candy come out.
The power of one more, everyone. Ed Mylett. Go and grab this book if you haven't already. It's going to be a life changer. I mean, you can just feel the energy coming off this human being. Honestly, I want you to go read this book. I want you to go listen to the podcast if you don't already. The first book was called Max Out Your Life as well, the Max Out podcast. Ed, you are just, your energy is infectious. I don't know how anyone can't listen to you, read from you, hear from you, and not feel like they need to change their life. Like, you've just given me a list of number ones that I'm going to do. One more. I hope that you keep coming back on the show. I hope that we keep getting to connect offline. I hope that we get to, keep spending one more day, one more phone call, one more time together, because
so grateful for you, bro. I love you.
Really grateful, man. Thank you so
man.
much.
I love you.
Thank you. Everyone grab the copy of the book. I'll put it in the link. I'll put it in the comment section, in the caption. The Power of One More. This is the book. Love it, brother.
Thanks, brother.
That was
good.
That was good.
That was good.
If you love this episode, you'll love my interview with Kobe Bryant on how to be strategic and obsessive to find your purpose.